I don't know what to say, really.
Fucking Roethlisberger, the quarterback, was all fucking hug it, chug it, football all night.
I know football. What you did with those boys. You were the right man for the job, coach.
You're Hall of Fame in my book.
Now, let's analyze what's been working for us. Not a goddamn thing's been working for us. Like this goddamn suit doesn't work for me. And this stinking tie. And this goddamn shirt. It doesn't work for me.
I'll tell you why you don't have your $10 million yet. 'Cause right now, you are a paycheck player. You play with your head, not your heart. In your personal life, heart. But when you get on the field, it's all about what you didn't get, who's to blame, who underthrew the pass, who's got the contract you don't, who's not giving you your love. You know what? That is not what inspires people.
This is your opportunity
For
here.
you. Playing football at West Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime. But I don't want your life.
I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that itch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that itch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
You know how to play winning hard-nosed football? You play football like a Gennaro played football. A guy who gave his life for this football team. He was a 140-pound halfback, and he played like a goddamn wild man. No, like a goddamn rampaging beast. And that's the way you gotta do it. You go out there, you tear their fucking heads off, and you shit down their necks. Let us pray.
I'll see you in L.A.
No heart. No heart? I'm all heart, motherfucker!
Utah.
Whoa!
Give me 2.
There we are. It's Tuesday evening. Mikey V and Mikey G live. Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. You know how we do things here. We talk football, waiver wire, post-mortem, week 3, Mike. Kind of a nightmare. Mikey V on Twitter at MKB Fantasy. I had a rough weekend. Fantasy wasn't so bad. DFS fell apart for me, and betting was just a disaster. I mean, that was a total shit show.
Yeah, kind of a weird week 3, really. If you played against anybody really on the Miami Dolphins, I apologize. And hopefully your wounds are healed, and we're on to week 4.
70 points!
Unreal.
I mean, 70 damn points. I couldn't believe it when I went and checked the score. It said 70 on the ticker.
Yeah.
That says it all.
It just doesn't happen.
No! I remember, I was actually thinking about it this week, the 59-0 game when the Patriots destroyed the Titans, I think during the CJ2K era, back in 2009, when the Patriots wore the Patriots Pat red jerseys and they crushed the shit out of them. I thought about that earlier this week, and then we saw 70-20. Sean Payton now has to wear that. He has to live with that for the rest of his days.
That's putting it mildly.
And I feel for you, Sean. That's tough. Jamie says, go pick up CJ Stroud now for your bye weeks coming up. Well,
there you go.
He clearly, it looks like the best rookie quarterback of the class currently. Bryce Young didn't even start, and then his backup, the old Red Rifle, comes in and throws for 361 yards and 2 touchdowns and becomes a very viable fantasy option this past week.
Yeah, kind of crazy if you think about it, too, because, I mean, Bryce Young, clear consensus #1 overall pick, right? Gets taken by the Panthers. Andy Dalton comes in here, and, hey, he may be the guy for fantasy purposes moving forward. I know it's only been 3 weeks, so I'm pumping the brakes a little bit, but, damn, he looked good.
Great job.
He looked really, really good. And we're going to answer your questions in the live chat today, so just jump in. Let's get to it. We're going to keep this one kind of tight, go to about 7:30. We have lives to live, and we do the best we can. We never want to let you down, so we are here, and we're going to give you some of our recommendations. Who to add on the waiver wire? Obviously, Devon, Ashane, actually is how you say it.
Yep.
He's going to be the biggest ad ever because he ran for 200 yards. But think about how it happened, okay? Yes, he's fast, and the Dolphins are the best offense in football. I don't think it's any debate on that. But remember how the game script went for him to run for 200 yards and get 18 carries. I mean, 2 running backs on the same team, Mostert and Ashane, ran for 4 or had 4 touchdowns. Each of them on the same team combined in the same game. It's crazy. That's not going to happen ever again.
No. And somebody actually in my home league actually brought up a good point today too. Would you be looking to sell high on Raheem Mostert after this game, noting his injuries and Jeff Wilson coming back in week 5, plus the Jonathan Taylor rumors? Like, would you be looking to kind of sell high on him while his value is never going to be higher, folks?
Yeah, but I don't know who's going to buy it. I mean, someone might buy it, Mike, but I'm not sure that I would buy it because he's just not durable. He's also 31 years old, I think, off the top of my head. At least 30. Yeah, he's old. And he's had a history of injury. So, yes, I think the smart move would be to sell him, even though I do love Mostert as a back. I think he's reliable because he's fast and strong, but he's not reliable enough to always be on the field. We got tons of questions here. Let's dive into it. Tilly, what's up, Tilly? And this is on the Twitch side. Hey, we never get any Twitch viewers. How about that? That's shocking. Let's give you a round of applause, Tilly, for being here. Hey, Twitch, you're out there. All right. By the way, our guy Chad's in the live chat. He does Twitch shows sometimes. Check him out. Tilly wants to know, I need help bad. Quarterbacks are... Actually, Mike, the way my computer's set up today, I'm going to have you read the questions because I have to look down and up, and it's way out of whack. So you take it away.
No worries. Cool. So he needs help. QBs are, I assume these are the free agents on his waiver wire. QBs are Baker Mayfield, Kenny Pickett, Russ Wilson, Mac Jones. I need to... Do I trade?
Why do you want to trade?
Yeah, I'm confused. Do you own these guys, Tilly, or is this somebody? Are these free agents on your? Or do you roster 4 quarterbacks? I assume this is a super flex league. If you need 2 as well, so of these 2, Michael, who do you like the most?
I like Pickett, and I actually like Russ. I mean, Russ didn't give up 70 points to the Dolphins last week, right?
Nope.
I mean, Jim Mora would be pissed. Jim Mora would be so pissed right now if he was the coach of the Broncos.
We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked.
Well, actually, it was the defense. It wasn't the offense, Jim. So I like Russell Wilson because he's got the Bears this week, too. It's a tasty matchup. The Bears are terrible, maybe the worst team in all of football this year. So I'm going Russ and Pickett.
Yeah, I think it's clear cut for me too. Mac Jones gets Dallas coming off that embarrassing loss versus Arizona. I think they come and they're in Dallas. I think they come out pretty pissed off. I'm not starting Mac Jones there. And Baker Mayfield's Baker Mayfield. Give me Kenny Pickett and Russ Wilson. It's not really close here either. But if you can work a trade, Tilly, I'd be looking to work a trade if you have like a plethora of a certain position. I try to get somebody else. But yeah, you're right. You do need help at QB bad. So,
well, I actually was on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon, but then I watched the game last night and I thought about it and I realized that all Baker really does is stare down Mike Evans. So that's not really a good quarterback necessarily. It's just a guy who's staring down a massive target. I think I'm off Baker now, not just as reactionary as a response to Monday night, but more because I need to see him spread the ball around more, and he's not really doing that. Godwin is just kind of an afterthought right now. He's not getting enough looks.
Which is so frustrating to me because I own a couple Chris Godwin shares, and you're right. He did get close. He did get close to the goal line yesterday. I think he got it down to the 1, and then they threw it to Mike Evans, of course. But Mike Evans is eating in that offense right now. I just wish he, like you said, would spread the ball out a little bit more and get Chris Godwin involved because he's one of their best playmakers on the field. So,
what's Chad pissed about here? What's this?
Yeah, so he says, let's get the dumb out of the way. With no first-round pick in an open division where the Saints just lost their quarterback, could Andy Dalton run away with the job over Bryce and continue to return top 12 value? I don't think he returns top 12 value all season long. I think that's a long shot. But I do think, yeah, I do think that for fantasy purposes, he probably is the best bet over Bryce Young right now from what we've seen. I mean, he made Adam Thielen and DJ Chark look great. Granted, again, I know Seattle wasn't the best of defenses in terms of stopping them. And DJ Chark and Adam Thielen are who they are. They're a little bit older and long in the tooth receivers. There, injury concerns there as well. So, but I would not be surprised if they gave it to Andy Dalton, especially if they're keeping staying close in ball games there. So, but it's clear Bryce Young is their future. I don't think they're going to kill his confidence, being as that he was their 1-1. So. After one injury, Andy Dalton comes in, you sit the bench, Andy Dalton, you're in. So I think they go back to Bryce when he's healthy.
I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell's going on there. You got Tepper, the guy who runs, the owner of the Panthers. He seems to be very hair trigger antsy. I can't rely on anything going on there consistently, even though you got Frank Reich, the new head coach there. Yeah. It's a real mess. You draft Bryce Young, and you clearly got it wrong because, right, after 3 weeks, we already know that Bryce Young is worse than C.J. Stroud. It's over. Lock it in, move on with our lives. The mistake has been made. Just like the Lions screwed up by taking Gibbs instead of Jalen Carter. That was also stupid. We can lock that in as well. But hey, After 3 weeks, we know everything, don't we?
Exactly. Yeah. And again, I'd be shocked if they, again, I think it kills the guy's confidence after 2 weeks. You get hurt, you come back, and a veteran like Andy Dalton that takes your job. I'm not saying that I don't think he can get the job. I think Andy Dalton can get the job back at some point, but I think they go back to Bryce when they're healthy. So moving on here.
Shout out to Chad, by the way. He's killing it in our Patreon. Our Patreon starts at $3, guys. We got to put up our football rankings. I'm finishing touches on mine. Mike already sent me his. They're every position for week 4, PPR, non-PPR, whatever you prefer. We give you tons of notes. We give you matchups, preferences, injuries, everything you need to know. It all starts with $3 on the Patreon. Palazzo Podcast. Patreon.com/Palazzo Podcast. 2 L's, 2 Z's. And Chad is doing
Utah. Give me 2.
start sits. And he's already given me his start sits for the Green Bay Detroit Lions game. Huge game Thursday Night Football. Actually, a really good Thursday Night Football game early on in the season. So make sure you check out the Patreon.com/Palazzo Podcast. 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
Give it a shot. Try for $3 for a month. If it's shit, you wasted $3. I mean, you spend 10 times that on a shot at a shitty club when you go out on a Saturday night. Come on. Don't bullshit us.
Right. That's right. And like I said earlier in the show and previous shows, the price of $3 is well worth it to kick your buddy's ass in fantasy football, right? And all your home leagues, take it to the bank. Go get $3 and subscribe to the Patreon. So,
all right, let's go. Let's get into live chat. What we got?
Jordan Love is the guy I would trade for. Let's actually dive into that Packers-Lions game since that's the one that's coming up here soon. Couple big returns here. David Montgomery looks like he's coming back. Christian Watson and Aaron Jones look to be coming back as well for Thursday night. This is gonna be a really, really fun Thursday night football game. I'm really excited for it. Rivalry game here. It is in Green Bay. Michael, what do you think about some of these guys who are returning for one, but two, who do you like in these games outside of the studs that we
trash, garbage?
Yeah, it's all trash, garbage. No, I don't know how this game's going to play out offensively in terms of will it be a shootout or will it be I mean, the Lions stunned me by completely limiting the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, Desmond Ridder, I made a DFS lineup with Desmond Ridder, maybe 2 even, because I thought that the Lions' pass secondary could be exposed. I thought their secondary had injuries, and some of the guys that were playing still were not very good. And I thought that Drake London, I mean, he's a really talented guy, but Ridder couldn't find him, and he couldn't get the ball to him, and the Lions only gave up 6 points, even though they lost Houston to injury, and they had other injuries on defense. It's crazy to me. That's how that game played out. How it goes Thursday night, Mike, I have no clue. I'm really confused on this, but I'm definitely putting I'm not as excited to put Aaron Jones in the lineup because the Lions legitimately are good as a run defense, and they have been going back to last year. That's just not last week, like Bijan got limited. They've been stopping the run for a while now, so I would be kind of nervous about the run aspect of the Packers offense, more open to Christian Watson and, of course, our guy Dobbs, who had a touchdown and was a leading receiver in the comeback win over the Saints Sunday.
Love Romeo Dobbs and one of my waiver wire ads for week 4. I know Christian Watson's coming back. I don't think he sees a plethora of snaps in this one. They probably ease him back in. The Packers usually are pretty careful with their injuries there, so I wouldn't be surprised for the same for Aaron Jones.
I don't know, though, Mike. I don't know.
Why not?
Think about this real quick. Bears and Vikings 0-3 in the NFC North. This is clearly the Packers understand the Lions are their main rival this season for a division crown. So I think they're going to pull out all the stops for this one. I think both teams, even though it's early, it's week 4, I think both sides are going to give as much touches as they can to their best players to try to win this game.
That's a really good call. I didn't really think about that. Vikings 0-3, Bears 0-3. I don't think they have anything to worry about with either of those teams right now. So it's going to be between the Packers and the Lions. So yeah, good call. Real quick for all our bettors out there, and we like to give you guys a little bit of tidbits here. The over-under is set at 45.5, and the Lions are away favorites, 1.5 points here.
That's ridiculous.
Trash.
Yeah,
that's insane. They never win in Lambeau for like 30 years, and they win one time, and now they're favorites in Lambeau. That is stupid. That is so stupid.
And for those of you guys watching and listening, Michael is a Lions guy, so he knows his stuff, right? When it comes to Detroit, right? So, Michael, I assume you like the Packers and the points there in this game.
Well, I don't know that, but I don't like them being favorites. I don't know what I like in terms of the spread. My intuition says it's going to be real, real close. Especially it's a short week, though. It fucks everything up. You just don't know what's going to happen, man. It's not a typical week. I I would say this could be a 24-20 game, and it's going to be right on the number for the total. That's my initial feeling on this one. But then again, I was shit last week. What the hell do I know? I mean, my betting, I was a disaster as a bettor at NFL last weekend. It was hell on earth.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun Thursday night football game. I could see it really going either way. I would be surprised if that line came down a little bit and we get close to more of a pick 'em at that point. We'll see. But I know we're getting close on time. If those of you guys have questions, drop them in the live chat. We're here to help. I do want to get into some waiver wire stuff. Michael, who are some guys? Let's go with your top 3. Who are your top 3 ads for this week?
Well, obviously, everyone's going to spend everything they got on Devon Achane. And my only question back to you is how much of your fab do you spend on this? Because everyone's assuming that this guy's the guy now. And why even trade for Jonathan Taylor now? Because they got the guy. They got the future of the NFL at running back already in their possession. So 70% of fab on week 4?
Oh man, I mean, I don't play in a whole lot of fab leagues for one, but 2, I also don't like blowing my whole wad on week 4 here. So, but at the same time too, I don't know if we're going to get a guy like this all year long in terms of where you're going to be able to spend this amount of money on. So, and not to mention too, this is the thing that I'm hesitant on. We've already mentioned it in earlier in the show is what do they do with, I mean, Mostert's still going to be there and Jeff Wilson's there when all these guys are healthy. What's that backfield look like? Right. So I think it's clear he's going to get the ball and he's McDaniel's guys. That's who McDaniel's wanted, right? Was Achane. So, I would be a little bit conservative here. I'm probably so I probably won't own many shares if I'm not getting into that 70% range or 60, 70. So for me personally, I'm not willing to spend that. But if somebody else will, let them have it. So, but what about you? What do you think?
I don't want to spend 70%. I'm willing to spend 40 to 50% on Achane and that's really my max. And if I don't get him, I don't think it's the end of the world because yes, Mostert could get hurt. We've talked about that, but there still is an opportunity here for touches that doesn't exist. So it's actually not an opportunity. I don't know how much more involved Shane's going to be in the offense, and I have doubts about that. And I'm also questioning his durability. Even at Texas A&M, he was an underperformer. So he has this mega game because he's got track star speed against a team that had already cashed in. I mean, you're thinking like this was a competitive down to the wire. This wasn't Timmy Smith in Super Bowl 22 or whatever it was when Washington beat Denver and Timmy Smith ran for 204 yards or whatever it was miraculously. Okay, that was a serious game. That was also the Broncos, by the way. Isn't that funny? Back in that Super Bowl. So the Broncos love to give up 200-yard rushers to randos. Achane, I'm not going to go heavy on, but I am going to give all I can get on Joshua Palmer. I talked about him on Sunday. And I said, I did, yeah. See,
hit the round of applause button.
Yeah! All right! This is a moment for us to shine and give thanks because we're actually here to help you and we're giving you quality information. I said on Sunday, I love Joshua Palmer. I didn't know Mike Williams would tear his ACL in that Minnesota-San Diego game. Yes, I call him San Diego, and I'll never call them L.A. But Palmer is now clearly going to be the guy that will get as many touches as Keenan Allen or at least secondary to Keenan Allen now. Forget Quentin Johnston. Palmer's been there. Palmer's a guy that has a rapport with Herbert. So I love Joshua Palmer as a mega ad. In fact, in PPR, I'm definitely going higher on Palmer and more focused on Palmer than I am on Achane.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, lock it in twice. I'm with you on that wholeheartedly. Joshua Palmer, again, everyone's with Quentin Johnson. I do still think he gets some looks, but at the same time, too, Joshua Kelly has been a stinker since he's taken over for Austin Eckler. They throw the shit out of the football. They got Justin Herbert, my boy. So, again, if you got burned by Joshua Kelly, sorry. He's not trustworthy moving forward, I don't think.
Yeah, that's Joshua Kelly. Hell on earth. Everybody had him in DFS, thought he was a cheap play, and he shit the bed big time. Yes, good riddance.
We got a question here from Dylan. Who would you be most willing to move in order? Diggs, Ayuk, Hollywood Brown, Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, and Dell.
Oh, Jesus. I got to look at that. That's so many names flying in. Oh, we got questions rolling in, too. Hey, Dylan, make sure you subscribe and like the video. We're glad to have you here, man. Stick around. We'll be back Sunday morning, too. 10:30 a.m. Give you the preview, start sits, injury report, everything you need to know. We're here for you, me and Mike. Mikey V and Mikey G. Lock that in. For me, Mike, I'd be most willing to move MT, I think.
Yeah. I was looking at Brandon Ayuk here too. I just think there's a lot of mouths to feed. Deebo Samuel looked great in Thursday Night Football. Granted, Ayuk did not play. Ayuk was spotted at practice on Monday. He's got a shoulder injury, so I do think he plays this week. But between him, Ayuk, Kittle, there's a lot of guys in that offense too, not to mention Christian McCaffrey. So I think, again, maybe after that 2 touchdown performance he had in week 1, if you're able to sell him for somebody that you need a positional need, I'm probably keeping Diggs. Hollywood's cheap. I mean, I like him too, but I don't know how many people are buying him. So of this
I love
group,
Hollywood because he's got to catch the ball. I know Michael Johnson's showing up or Michael Wilson. Sorry. So there's some excitement out there in Arizona. They beat Dallas's ass, and it turns out, by the way, just real quickly, Mike, everybody's been shitting on Arizona coming into the season and how hiring Gannon, the DC, well, he was the DC for Philly, right?
Yeah.
And everybody said this guy's taking a job because he's the only guy who will take the job in Arizona. Looks like he knows what he's doing. I mean, I know they blew the Giants game, but they were kicking their ass, and the defense for Arizona is actually a viable fantasy DST. It is. Oh, yeah. So, Gannon, shove it in everybody's face, dude. We were wrong about you, dude. You look like you know what you're doing.
Yep. I was one of those people. But again, Dallas coming in there after that game, it's clear they are severely missing Trayvon Diggs there. So I was really surprised by that game.
Gannon's doing magic. You damn right, Dylan. You know what you're talking about. You got to give him credit.
Just subscribed and liked. You don't think Mike Williams' role will be more sufficient with Johnston, though? I agree with Palmer's familiarity.
I saw
Mike
Jamie
Williams
said he likes both. He says pick up Johnston and Palmer. I don't know if I agree with that. I prefer Palmer still. I do.
Yeah, I don't like rostering both of them. If I had to pick, I'm going with Palmer here. And again, with his familiarity with the offense, he was balling when Mike Williams and Keenan were out last year. So I like Palmer. I think he's the deep threat guy that they're gonna use. Keenan Allen will still get his 15 to 18 targets, whatever the hell he saw Sunday. I don't think we see that much, but he's the target guy. He's gonna be more the volume guy. I think Palmer's the guy to get here.
Hell yeah!
Dylan, appreciate you. Go ahead.
Dylan, way to go, dude. Great to have you here, man. Keep it coming. Got to give a shout out to BTC. Tank Dell is that guy. And I think BTC was one of the guys in our chat last week who was hyped on Tank Dell. And he has ascended. He topped Nico Collins in the pecking order for Houston over the weekend. 145 yards. Big day for Tank Dell. And they destroyed the trash, garbage.
Trash,
Jackson.
garbage.
Yes, terrible.
By the way, credit where credit's due. Michael Gove also called us out last Tuesday when we were talking about Dameon Pierce. I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting him." You did say Texans always play Jacksonville extremely tough, and they did. They came out and kicked their ass. So,
hey, it's amazing I couldn't make a fucking set over the weekend with all these things I got. Guys, you know what my biggest issue? To know me is to understand that I'm very confident in front of a mic. I don't give a shit. I'll say anything right now. I could care less. I'm not nervous whatsoever. But when it's time to make a decision and money is on the line and I start using the philosopher's stone, there's the philosopher in me. This side of the coin, that side of the coin. This side of the coin, that side of the coin. I just cannot make up my mind, even though I just said it clearly on screen over the weekend. But hey, I'm learning. I'm still trying, guys. Don't give up on me, Dad. Don't give up on me.
That's right. Yeah, I think Tank Dell is another guy to add for week 4 here coming up. If he's not already owned, he was a popular ad last week. If he's not owned, he's another guy. Michael, who do you prioritize over between Tank Dell and Joshua Palmer of those receivers?
Ooh. I'm going to go Palmer just because Herbert's a known commodity and they're going to throw the shit out of the ball. I know Kellen Moore is the new OC and they want to run it more. And when Eckler comes back, yeah, there's going to be more dumps to Eckler, but I still have more trust with a guy who's proven it to me already. I like Stroud. I like the Texans offense. It's fun. But just remember a week ago, they fucked around. Yes, they got some stats that were padded in that Indianapolis loss at home, but they look spiritless. So they love to beat Jacksonville on the road. Doesn't mean they're going to do that to Pittsburgh. They've got Pittsburgh at home this week, and Pittsburgh's starting to put it together, especially defensively. I'm not as excited if we're talking a 1-week matchup right now. Also, credit to you, Mike. Pierce did have a touchdown. I mean, he only had 31 yards rushing, but he did have a touchdown. So.
Yeah, he did. And I'm with you on that take 100% too. We were talking about Nico Collins. Robert Woods is seeing plenty of targets in this offense too. This is a fun offense. They got 3 good receivers, decent receivers. I wouldn't say they're superstars, but Tank Dell looks like to be the real deal here. So
yes.
Again, I do think he needs to be rostered. So I would prioritize Palmer as well and go Tank Dell. So
Dylan is loving us. Dylan says, we got awesome energy. Dude, glad to have you here. I got to tell you, I'm also fired up right now. I'm like in the zone. I'm focused. All of my equipment's working. we're on at the regularly scheduled time, when everything goes smoothly, I'm at my best. What can I say?
Yeah. Dylan, if you like this YouTube channel and you like our videos and our energy, get in the Discord. It's free. You get all this stuff on a 24/7 basis. Plenty of great people in there. So I appreciate you liking and subscribing, man. We have another question from Dylan here. Who are your buy low candidates for RB and wide receiver position? I have a ton of depth. I'll start with running back. We just got talking about him here is Dameon Pierce, and I've been mentioning him here on multiple times on the show. He's down 4 of his offensive linemen. Again, when those guys get healthy, I do think they'll start to run the ball more. Dameon Pierce did say in an interview that he wants the rock. He wants to be able to run the ball more. And we saw a little bit of it on Sunday. Jacksonville's good against the run, but again, more things to come from Houston here when they get their offensive lineman back. I love him as a buy low. Wide receiver position, that one's tough. I'm going to have to think about that one for a minute. Michael, do you have
I got running backs. Yeah, I can follow you on buy low running backs. First off, I loved A.J. Dillon this year, but he's been a shit show.
Yep.
Very disappointing. Yeah, I know. Everyone's surprised. He had an opportunity to usurp Jones in a way in the Packers' backfield, but he hasn't done that. Yet, I still think it's an opportunity to buy low, and most people would be pretty much dismissive of him right now. Also, maybe some people are annoyed by Ramondre Stevenson. He hasn't scored he had 1 touchdown the week before last in Miami, but his yards per carry has been shit, and he's had tough defenses to play against. I mean, Philadelphia, Miami, and the Jets. It's not like it's been a free-for-all. I'd like to see Ramondre get loose, but I'm also mildly concerned that maybe Ezekiel Elliott, who looked pretty good in that Jets game, could take away. So maybe that's not the route to go. Also, if you want to roll the dice on one of the 3 Kansas City running backs, I mean, McKinnon's always going to get receiving touchdowns, but that's all he'll ever get. He'll never get enough carries to be viable. But CEH had a touchdown, and he had 15 carries, just like Pacheco did. That's interesting. CEH is the guy who could probably be free on most waiver wires at this time. And lastly, Khalil Herbert. I know you don't like Herbert, Mike, but there's got to be a point here where there's a game script that doesn't go off the rails for the Bears, and they can run the ball a little bit more with Herbert. And he's still the main guy to run, even though Rashawn Johnson has become the number 2. It's still Herbert's backfield, and I think right now is a good time to get Herbert for practically nothing, because I think a lot of people would also dismiss him because they worry that Justin Fields will run around too much and they won't run the ball enough. So I think that's where I'm going with buy low running backs.
Yeah, I agree with the Ramondre Stevenson. He was a guy I was thinking of as well. I do think, again, we were drafting this guy as a top 15 running back, so somebody might be frustrated with him. You could probably get him for a relatively cheap price. Maybe his price tag is not as high as it once was to start the season. But one
last one too.
Go ahead.
Trey Sermon is the backup right now to Moss in Indianapolis. The Indianapolis signed Trey Sermon, and he had 5 carries, I believe.
Yep. But Zach Moss had 30, so I think it was somebody actually made a great tweet about that. That was like, their only reason why they're giving it to Trey Sermon is so we don't look at a box score and see 35 carries for Zach Moss. So.
Okay, that's fair. But if Moss goes, this is just something to think about. Trey Sermon is the backup. They cut Deion Jackson. Deion Jackson's over on the practice squad with Cleveland now. He's gone.
Yep.
And if you don't think Jonathan Taylor comes back, it's at least worth maybe taking a flyer on Sermon if you're looking to steal the Indianapolis backfield out from somebody who maybe rosters Moss. Just something to think about.
He did leave the game a couple times during the game on Sunday against my Ravens.
What the hell, man?
Awful game. We'll get into that in a second. But he came out twice shaking his right leg. And he was getting looked at by trainers. So something to think about. I like that call, Trey Sermon. And again, maybe there's sour grapes there with Indy. Maybe they try to move Jonathan Taylor once he's back. But who knows? Might be something to pick up for the cheap, especially if you're playing some deeper leagues. So I don't know if you saw that play in the Ravens game too, where Zay Flowers got hooked by one of the linebackers, literally got wrapped around the waist and turned as the ball was coming. It was clearly pass interference. If you look at it from the Ravens, if you look at it from the end zone, you could see it was clearly pass interference.
Wow, dude!
I was pissed.
I bet you were pissed.
But we didn't deserve to win that game anyways. So we just played like
classic
shit all
Ravens,
around.
Man. Big
really
win
is.
on the road in Cincinnati. Yeah, see, even I know that.
Yep, absolutely.
What about the wide receivers to buy low on?
Wide receivers, I like. That's a tough one to think of. Who's not performing well right now?
I got my on the rankings, guys. We got our rankings, and I put a little cold emoji on the cold guys, and a little fire emoji. I'm very clever. I'm very, very clever,
like
obviously, with my fire emojis and freezing cold emojis for each week. Drake London?
For me, I'm out on London. I never really was high on him coming into the city. They just run the ball too much, and I hate Desmond Ritter.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we talked about that last. Yeah, you and your brother. We talked about London and whether we'd play him or not. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Guy I like looking at here that you could probably buy low on right now. I just lost him. Calvin Ridley for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
he's a guy that looked great in week 1. He's put up a couple stinkers back to back now. So I do think Jacksonville figures that out. They're too well coached. Doug Peterson will figure it out. Trevor Lawrence is very talented. He's a guy that I'd be looking to capitalize 100%. He's my number 1 buy low wide receiver that you could probably get for a reasonable price. I don't think you're going to have to spend a whole lot, but it'd be a situational basis in terms of what you need and what you're looking to give up for him. But so a guy
and
like
ETN was good in that game, even though he didn't score a touchdown. He had 90 yards, 88 yards rushing, and 50 yards receiving, which is huge. One of my concerns with ETN in PPR leagues was would he catch the ball enough, because he didn't have a strong history of being a catch receiving back. But that's good news.
Yep, absolutely. Is there a wide receiver you like as a buy low?
Boy, there's a lot of guys out there. Garrett Wilson right now, everyone's like, dude, you're an afterthought now. Garrett Wilson is behind Adam Thielen. Like, nobody seems to care about Garrett Wilson now because Zach Wilson is hell on earth. He's talented, though. And even though Zach Wilson's hell on earth, they were able to make it work last year. Like I said, 2 weeks ago, I said this on the show, that Garrett Wilson as a rookie still had 1,100 yards receiving, even though Zach Wilson was the quarterback for a big chunk of the season. I know Mike White was mixed in there too, so he helped. So I think you got to buy low on Garrett Wilson. If someone's willing to sell, he was a super hot commodity coming in, so it might be tough.
Yeah, Trevor Siemian actually got signed by the Jets today, so clear indication that all of this talk that Zach Wilson is still the guy, Robert Saleh, nobody's buying it, man. He's shit. Everyone knows he's shit. I'm sorry. He's a backup quarterback at best. He's not winning any football games. The definition of insanity, right? You got to go out and get somebody who can move the ball down the field. So with his arm and not just running the ball every single play with Cook and Hall, which also limits their upside as well, because they're just going to stack 8 in the box and get Garrett Wilson to beat him. So,
and look what happened with Chase last night, by the way. Chase was not doing anything and then he explodes. So it just got to be patient with talent sometimes.
Yep. BTC asks Watson or Dobbs for Thursday night. For me, I'm going Dobbs here. I just don't know much about Watson, how long they let him play here. Dobbs clearly has a connection with Jordan Love. And I like him at least for this week. And maybe they put a little bit more attention on Watson coming into his first game. So I think there's some rust that he may need to shake off. I think the safer play is Dobbs. The higher ceiling for sure is Watson.
If you're looking to rack up the catches in PPR, it's got to be Dobbs. But big play opportunities, they're trying to win. They want to make a splash, and they need to stretch the field to open up the rest of the running game, etc., which is, like I said, not easy to run on Detroit, no matter what you think of their defense. It's like last night. Last night, Philadelphia, Olamide Zacchaeus out of Virginia, out of Charlottesville. Not a very well-known commodity, but Quez Watkins was out, and Zacchaeus became the third receiver. He only had 3 targets in the game last night, but he had 2 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown. One of them was a 34-yarder. So, Watson, if he has 3 grabs for 95 yards and a touchdown, is that more viable than Dobbs? It's a real tough call. I think Dobbs is a safer play, but if you want to live the dream, BTC, let's go Watson.
Yeah. He also says, I was saying buy low on Watson or Dobbs.
Oh!
Got it. Oh. Okay. That makes sense.
Well, no one's going to sell Watson because they haven't seen him yet, I would assume.
Yeah, I don't know if you can buy low on him right now. Maybe because of his hamstring injury. But Dobbs is somebody, too, that I don't know if you're going to be able to buy low on. But
he just had a solid game, so I don't think Dobbs is a buy low, in my opinion. BTC, I love you. I respect you. My man from Flint, but come on.
Yeah. All right. Is there anybody else that you'd like I know we're running a little bit tight on time here. Is there anybody else you'd like real quick before we head off that you'd like as a waiver wire ad? I got one if I could.
Go ahead. Hit me. Hit me.
Yeah. And we talked about it earlier in your show. I like Adam Thielen in a revenge game against the Vikings. If you need a spot in wide receiver, Adam Thielen is a guy that I like. The Vikings don't play defense. We talked about it enough on last week's show. Clearly they showed they can't play defense again. And they're in Carolina. Adam Thielen's probably going to want to stick it to his former team. If Andy Dalton's starting a quarterback, I like him as a wide receiver play if you need wide receiver help, and maybe even DJ Chark as well. But I like Adam Thielen the most there. So I'm hoping lightning strikes twice there.
I love a couple of Panthers to go against that Minnesota defense, which is not good, as we know. And if Dalton's a starter, that's even better. Jonathan Mingo, too. Keep an eye on Jonathan Mingo. He's getting some opportunities. He's going to get more reps. There's got to be some trust built there. But Mingo, as the season progresses, I still like him. Real quickly, we didn't talk about this. What about this one here, Mike? What happened here? Wow.
Oh, no. I was hoping we'd make a full show without that.
We should have talked trash on Sunday. We didn't even do that because we're so busy and just running through life. But yeah, me and Mike went head to head in the Palazzo League. We did one Palazzo League before the season started. I won. Not even that excited about it. I won. Recap. There it is.
Ooh,
D+. Ooh, that stings. Wow. Binkler's boss team dominates Mike VA in fantasy shirt. I don't know why I'm Binkler's boss team. I didn't even set up my team name, so I don't know what the hell happened there. But Kenneth Walker, I love Kenneth Walker. I've talked about it on this show since we started talking football in the preseason. And even though Zach Charbonnet, 9 carries, 46 yards in that Carolina game, Walker had 2 touchdowns, also had 59 yards receiving. So very exciting. I love Walker. I think Walker is a top 3 running back, period, in fantasy. And you'll see that if you subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's,
Utah.
2 Z's.
Give me 2.
Try it for $3 for a month. Check out the rankings. That means you get 4 weeks of rankings too, which the rankings documents are solid. So anyways, I beat you, Mike. It's okay. Who cares?
Well, yeah, congratulations to you. You awesome team. Drafted very well in that league, by the way, I will say. I was looking at your team over the weekend. I was like, God damn, how the hell did he get all these guys between Jalen Hurts, Kenneth Walker? I'm like, fuck, I wanted these guys. Real quick, for those of you guys who don't know, too, with the Patreon, there's plenty of other content in there as well. So if you play fantasy baseball and you're still playing fantasy baseball right now, still got another couple days worth of the season. You got betting content from Michael Govier. You got our
college football,
NFL, college football. Yep. There's a ton of great shit on there. So make sure you guys get on there. $3 a month. Again, it's the price of less than a coffee. It's worth a shot. Make sure you guys do that.
Lock it in. And I had my bet of the week was Colorado plus 21. I took Oregon all day and they crushed them 42-6. So that one went well, at least. I just wish I had put my life savings on it. But come on, nobody can put their life savings on one bet. We're not going to live like that. I mean, I love getting wild, but I got a wife now. I have to consider, and it's very important that I maintain a sense of order and discipline. Okay.
Earth meet Colorado. Colorado meet Earth.
Yeah, dude, that was a reality check for sure. Was there any other injuries here where we're looking at replacements real quick? I just want to make sure I'm not skipping out on anybody before we leave. By the way, Jimmy Garoppolo's in concussion protocol. And if he doesn't play, it's Aiden O'Connell time in Las Vegas, and they're at the Chargers, which is a pretty good matchup for O'Connell. Devontae Adams, your boy, Jacoby Myers. That's someone to, especially in Superflex, you should be adding Aiden O'Connell regardless. Yeah,
absolutely agree with that take. Usually it's worth noting, too, like it's really rare that we see guys make it a full week. And he's got less than a week, really, to come back from concussion. So I don't think that we're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo this week. Still starting Devontae Adams, still starting Josh Jacobs, but another guy to keep an eye on, too, if you need desperate at running back. Gus Edwards left the game on Sunday with a concussion. So I do think that he was not at practice. I do think that Melvin Gordon could be a guy that you could add in your leagues. They do get a tough matchup against Cleveland, so I'm not crazy about it. So
Nope.
It's a desperation flex play here if you need a running back. So Melvin Gordon.
That defense is legit, man. Justice Hill might come back too, right?
He's got dealing with turf toe. I don't know how bad it is, but he didn't practice at all last week. So I'm a little concerned there. So, but if he is indeed practicing and in a limited basis, go grab Justice Hill. I think he'll be the guy Sunday. So
yeah, you're just not.
I'm not starting either one of them, though.
No. I mean, I said on Sunday morning, don't start Derrick Henry. Don't start Tyjae Spears. And I love Tyjae Spears. But Tyjae Spears, I think 4 carries, 3 yards. Because Cleveland's defense is Jim Schwartz. Legit. I know, love it. Once again, my Lions expertise comes into play. Jim Schwartz, former head coach. In fact, his only head coaching job ever was with the Lions, which tells you a lot about that. But he is a hell of a defensive coordinator. He won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia, right, as the DC in 2017. Guy knows what he's doing. And this Cleveland defense, legitimately might be the best defense in the NFL. I think that's where I'm going on that now, because I was kind of off that, but what I've seen from them after 3 weeks, they know what they're doing, and they can come at you in a lot of different ways, and they're sound strategy-wise. So Cleveland defense, best in football right now.
Myles Garrett, too.
That was the wrong button.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. Myles Garrett, the master. I got him as an IDP player in my only IDP league. So.
All of those soundboard buttons that you just pushed are fitting. Like, did anybody think Cleveland was going to be the best defense?
Garbage.
Nah, I mean, I thought they'd be okay, but also Deshaun Watson looked pretty good, which totally sucks. So.
Right. Yeah. For those of you guys who don't know, we do Sunday shows, 10 a.m. Eastern, 10:30, depending on how the night before went. So, anyways. We'll tweet out the and post in the Discord as well on the time we're going live. But we're here to help you out in the morning time. Don't watch the rest of those bozo shows. Watch our show. We're able to help you out. Michael Govia had a lot of good calls last Sunday, so make sure that you guys check us out 10 a.m. Eastern. Book your calendars.
But you had good calls. I'm sure you did. I'm just not remembering everything.
No,
come on, give me one. What was the one call you had that was awesome?
I think I had Zach Moss in there as a guy to start, but I mean that's a pretty solid one. So
is this true, by the way? Devontae tried to get shipped out, or is BTC's just starting shit?
I don't know. I didn't hear that, but if he's going somewhere, I assume he wants to go to a contender, but it's going to be pretty hefty to get him. So, be interesting.
Yeah, it's a massive contract, right? That's complicated.
Yeah. Yep. Unless somebody's willing to eat it, but I mean, the Raiders are willing to eat it. I don't think they will, but anyways.
Well, just remember, Josh Palmer, I'm not opposed to you guys adding Quentin Johnston. It's fine if you want to add Johnston. I just think he's still coming along slowly. There's also other rookies that you should look around the league in terms of wide receivers and say, is that guy ready? I mean, not everybody can be Tank Dell, so just remember that. Tank Dell is already... And Zay Flowers, who I still think is he's the best wide receiver in the class, in my opinion. But, goddamn Lamar, man. I mean, he just cannot... He had 101 yards rushing and 2 rushing touchdowns. Going to be 2, Utah, but...
Give me 2.
Only had 200 yards passing again. It's like they should have been...
Yep. And that's my thing. That was my thing with Lamar coming into the season. If you guys read my draft day fades, there was a preview article we put up on the Patreon too. I faded Lamar for that reason. If he's not getting it done with his legs, his floor is extremely low. So
great call. He said it.
So
true story.
Yep. But he's got plenty of weapons. It's only week 4. So again, hopefully he gets things going with Zay, Mark Andrews, all those Rashad Bateman. I still like a lot. So we'll see.
That's actually a great name to drop there as we close out the show. Bateman's a guy everyone's forgotten about. He hasn't really done anything, but he's a talented guy out of Minnesota. And he had a serious injury. He missed all last year, basically. So take a look at Bateman as a guy who maybe gets going, maybe not even this week, right? Because the Ravens are going to have their hands full with Cleveland. But after this week, it's somebody, if you could stash away, I think it's worth doing just because he's talented. And Baltimore's offense still coming together with Todd Monken and this high-flying passing attack, right?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And I did say that too, and also in my draft day fades article with Lamar, is that it would take him some time to get used to this new offense. Their running back, obviously, they lose J.K. Dobbins. That certainly doesn't do them any favors with rolling with these guys that are just, again, backup running backs, let's be honest. So hurts them to a certain extent. Yeah.
On the snap count, Bateman was out there for 69% of the snaps in week 3, so... That's good news.
Yep.
Also, Nelson Aguilar was out there for 72 of them, and he had a good week last week, or a so-so week last week.
So. Yeah, yeah. I'm not a guy. I'm not a Nelson Aguilar guy, but hey, he caught a touchdown a couple weeks ago.
I wasn't an OBJ guy. I said I was out on him from preseason from the jump, and he hasn't done shit. So
Nope.
There you go. All right, we're out of here. We got to go. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for being on a Tuesday night. We love doing the show. It's a lot of fun. Oh, okay. Dylan, since you've been such a good sport, you kissed our ass a lot. You didn't kiss our ass. You were very kind to us. I know you meant what you said, Dylan. No disrespect. So we're going to give it to you. Close out the show. Would you trade MT and Herbert for a guy like Rashad White? Michael Thomas and Herbert for Rashad White. That's too much, I think.
I think he's talking about Khalil Herbert here, by the way. Michael Thomas.
Yeah, he is. I still think it's too much.
Yeah, that's too much for me. Again, Herbert and Rashad White. I mean, I prefer White over Herbert, but Michael Thomas, if he can stay healthy, again, I know Derek Carr's hurt. He's not going to play this week, guys. Another guy we need to talk about there. So
we didn't mention Jameis Winston. I'm so glad you just said that.
Yep,
that's a real. I mean, that's a guy you're going to add no matter what. You're adding Jameis Winston because of the talent on the offense, and Alvin Kamara's coming back this week. So. Yep. It's going to be bad news, actually, that if Derek Carr was a quarterback when Kamara came back, I would feel a lot better about Kamara getting more receptions. But we've seen Jameis and Kamara together in the offense, He doesn't get nearly the catches at all. And that's a real bummer, actually, for Kamara. But you got to pick up Winston, especially at Superflex. He's an absolute must-add.
Yep, and especially with Tampa Bay coming up too, they just got their doors blown off by Philly. What's that thing Jameis does? Eat a W? Didn't he do that whole thing? Right? They're gonna eat a W on Sunday, folks. Make sure you get Jameis Winston if you're super flex.
I just thought he stole some crab legs from Publix.
Yeah, he did that too. So
okay.
He's an interesting guy. He said a lot of dumb shit.
I think this is too much. I wouldn't do MT and Herbert for Rashad White. That's too much. I think it's too much.
Yeah, same here. I'm not making that trade. Real quick, because this is somebody looks Tizzy on the Twitch channel here.
Oh, more Twitch people
for tuning in. Yeah, if you haven't done so already, make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Tizzy, what do you think about this trade? I get Josh Jacobs, Terry McLaurin, and Puka Nacua. He gets Miles Sanders and Jalen Waddle.
Ooh, I don't want to give up Jalen Waddle.
It is Dynasty, by the way.
Okay, Dynasty. I don't want Jacobs, especially in Dynasty. He's going downhill in value. So Terry McLaurin's getting older. And Puka, really the Puka's the highlight for Dynasty. But
I want Waddle.
You're giving up Miles Sanders and Jalen Waddle. Miles Sanders I'm fine with, but I don't want to give up Waddle. To me, this is basically, would you trade Waddle for Puka? You're going to get all these other ancillary products, which I guess is fine. If you believe in Puka as much as some people do, then I guess you do this trade and you just take Jacobs and McLaurin as extras. If you don't believe in Waddle, I love Waddle in that offense, but if you think Puka's the master, then you guess you got to do this.
I want the Miles Sanders and Waddle side myself. I agree with you. Everything you said in terms of Josh Jacobs and Terry McLaurin's arrows pointing down here. I know Josh Jacobs had a great year last year. He's not going to repeat that shit this year. So Terry McLaurin, I'm a little concerned with as well with Sam Howell as his quarterback. So until he gets a formidable quarterback there for him, I don't like him at all. I do like Puka. But not for Jalen Waddle. I think Jalen Waddle's a guy I'd rather have here.
Yeah, he's still got to show us. I mean, it's only a couple weeks, guys. Puka's exciting, but Waddle has already proven to us, and we know how fast he is and how high-flying that offense is. It's a lot of fun.
The team put up 70 points. That's all you need to know, okay? Keep Jalen Waddle.
End of story. Stunning. People were shitting their pants in the crowd. They couldn't believe it. And it's hot down there in Miami. When people shit their pants in the humidity, it stinks even worse. It's disgusting. It's awful. An awful sight. You don't want to be there. All right, thanks, everybody. Yeah. Cheers to you, Tizzy. What a great show. You guys crushed it. Thanks for being a part of the show and connecting with us. We're going to close it out in the video just like we do. We start and we finish. Subscribe, like, Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Patreon's $3.
Give me
Discord's
two.
free. It's in the description. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Fucking Roethlisberger, the quarterback, was all fucking hug it, chug it, football.